Did you catch his number on the locomotive?
Sorry, I missed it.
That was really stupid. I love this town!
Recently, you went viral after you wore your T-shirt on a red carpet.
I was doing a photo shoot for Ghostbusters. At 78, it's kind of nice to...
78!
Ernie Hudson, the infamous face on the set of Ghostbusters, has undergone quite the dramatic transformation in the past few years, and boy, does he look better than ever. If y'all thought aging like fine wine was just a popular catchphrase with no backbone, y'all had better think twice. But first off, why don't we address the elephant in the room? Isn't it insane how Ernie Hudson, the same actor who happened to be everyone's favorite character from Ghostbusters, was not just underpaid, but also ill-treated? Outrageous, right? Don't be quick to flip the switch so soon, because it gets even crazier from here. Now, the problem with people seeing you across their screen is they instantly assume that you're loaded and overflowing with cash, but unfortunately, that's a far cry from the real deal. And that was Hudson's exact situation.
Yeah.
The man was literally struggling to survive, but to make matters worse, he had to face racism and discrimination from all corners. Well, thank the good Lord that he's finally being projected to higher levels of success.
They see success.
And would you take a look at that? At 78 years old, Hudson doesn't look a day over 40. Heck, he's in better shape than most guys in their 20s. But how did he manage to do so, and what were the experiences that shaped him up? Why don't we go all the way back to the beginning? And when I say the beginning, I'm going as far back as December 17th, 1945, right after the start of the Second World War, when Ernie Hudson was born, but raised by his grandmother who took care of him after his mother passed away.
I was raised to, my grandmother would say, put not your trust in man, you trust the universe or God or whatever you believe in. And that's always been my biggest, I believe in that. The opportunities that have come from places that I could not imagine.
Even though he was born in a time when tension was at an all-time high, Hudson managed to stay positive. He soon developed a love for acting after studying drama. It was this love for drama that led him to New York City, where he auditioned for different roles in theater and on screen. But his big break came in 1984 when he played the role of Winston Zeddemore in the film Ghostbusters.
I did a movie called Space Hunter. Peter Strauss and Molly Ringwald back in 82. We shot in 82, came out in 83. And it was a big studio movie, but it didn't get the traction like a Ghostbuster. Ivan Reitman produced that movie. Harold Ramis was one of the writers. And a year later, they were doing Ghostbusters. I thought I'd automatically be able to get an audition, but they refused to see me because the character in Space Hunter was just a very different character. He was bigger than life. My head was shaved, you know, and so I couldn't get an audition. It took me months before I could get an audition for the film. And finally, they saw me after it seemed like they'd seen everybody. And I knew I'd sort of did really well in the audition, but they had me come in maybe about 6 times, put me on screen test 3 times. And eventually, you know, I guess I just won out against a whole bunch of other folk who, it was one of those things where you feel like people would rather have somebody else, but, you know, in case we can't find anybody else, we got Ernie over here. And I always say by the time I got the part, it was like I couldn't even celebrate. You know, I'm like, me and the kids were waiting.
They put you through everything so long.
Yeah, I'm like, agent said, aren't you excited you got the role? Yeah, but I mean, it's been, in 3 months.
Did you feel like they wanted another white person, or did you feel like it was race back then?
You know, as a black man, everything that's ever happened in my life, I can attribute it to race on some level in my mind. I could do that if I wanted to, you know.
Now, here's the real shocker. Ernie Hudson might have given us his version of the most radiant smile ever on camera, but that doesn't mean he was all smiles behind the scene. Would you believe that while his co-stars, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis received hefty paychecks among a host of other non-monetary benefits, Hudson found himself in a very different position. After all the agent fees and payments to his team, Ernie Hudson later admitted to pocketing a mere $370 from the iconic film. Shocking, right? But that wasn't the worst part. Hudson later revealed that he had experienced racism from the producers of Ghostbusters. Despite originally auditioning for a larger role, his part was significantly cut back after he was cast, with many fans and critics speculating that this was due to racial bias. Even in the sequel, his character remained underdeveloped compared to his white counterparts. The humiliation didn't end there. Hudson would later open up about how he was barely recognized on promotional material, or the press for that matter, whenever they were going for interviews, and a host of other shenanigans that obviously didn't favor him. But let's just say, his talent and his faith paid off, even if the long wait wasn't easy. I mean, can you just imagine it? That's literally the reality of most of these actors. They spend a lot of money and time and, they spend a lot. Yet whenever they try to attain the very heights of fame that would give them all the riches and recognition that they actually deserve, they might have to wait for an entire year, at times hoping for another lead role or perhaps a strong supporting role that sets them up for another role. I can't for the life of me imagine how Hudson survived while being neglected, and let's not forget the fact that the studio was racist as heck. Ernie, being the nice gentleman he is, didn't outright label them as racist, but instead he chose to thank his co-workers for how nicely they treated him during the filming process.
And I think it's so hard for me as an African American to claim racism because honestly, if I woke up after a bad night's sleep, I can say it's because I'm Black. I mean, so you don't want to go there. You can blame everything in the world on that. And a lot of times you really have no idea what motivates people. I know the cast, Bill Murray, no matter what people say about Billy, from day one, he said, Ernie, I have your back. And he's the only one who said, I won't do another one unless Ernie Hudson is in it. So the guys are great. But the studio took a very, very I think, different approach. But I can also say that had Eddie Murphy played the role that I played, he definitely would have been on the posters, I can tell you that.
Sadly, Ernie Hudson wasn't the only one who felt like the studio wasn't exactly accommodating during and after the whole filming experience.
He just said no. So I know they offered him more money than they offered me. And if I thought going to his house would make a difference, I'd be there. Because I'd love to see, not just in Ghostbusters, but I just think he's an amazing talent. I would love to, see him just working. But obviously it was a personal choice. And they did a country western album or something, but I don't know.
Despite the movie being a cultural phenomenon, Hudson's financial situation didn't reflect the film's success. Between working in smaller, less glamorous productions and facing the long-term effects of being a long-forgotten outcast in Hollywood, Hudson found himself in a difficult financial spot. For years, he fought hard to reclaim his rightful place in the industry. But you know what they say about age playing a role in these things. Ernie would later refer to Ghostbusters as being the most difficult movie he's ever worked on.
When you start out in the business, I was always told it's almost impossible to succeed. But if you get in a major movie from a major studio and it comes out and it opens #1, it'll change your career. Well, Ghostbusters didn't do any of that for me. I was working pretty nonstop. I did Ghostbusters and it was 2.5 years before I got another movie. So, but it was an important movie, a big movie, and I'm so thankful to be a part of the franchise. But it wasn't an easy road. In fact, Ghostbusters, I would say it was probably the most difficult movie I ever did just from the psychological perspective. The original script, Winston was in the very beginning of the movie. By the time we got ready to shoot the movie, Winston came in halfway through the movie. So it was like all those things.
It felt deliberate, right?
It definitely felt deliberate. And I'm still not trying to take it personal because, I'm sure
Things got worse after Hudson's finances, and health took a major hit. And let's not forget the part where Hudson survived a near-death experience which left fans worried for his well-being. Though the specifics remain under wraps, the actor has hinted that it was a wake-up call to take better care of his health. Today, Ernie Hudson is a proud father of 4 sons and has been happily married to his second wife, Linda Kingsburg, since 1985. Despite the ups and downs of his career, Hudson has remained committed to his family, and they've remained equally committed to him. Let's just say he shouldn't be getting worried about losing half his net worth anytime soon to a calculating businesswoman, 'cause boy, do they love each other dearly. And his children? The entire family is just so tight-knit, at least from what we can see on social media. His strong relationship with his children has been a source of comfort during the most challenging times in Hollywood. However, it hasn't always been smooth sailing behind the scenes. Rumors of tension between Hudson and his co-stars on certain sets have swirled for years, though no public fallout ever made headlines. Hudson's quiet, no-nonsense demeanor may have kept some of the juiciest Hollywood feuds at bay. Or perhaps it's the fact that people just get scared of picking a fight with the 78-year-old with the Iron Man physique, dude. That's one really impressive physique. Well, there's one person, on the other hand, that isn't overly frightened by Hudson's physique, and it's none other than his wife. Can you believe that they even argue over toilet paper? Now, that would be a fun sight to see on TV. But let's skip to the part you've all been waiting for. So how does Ernie Hudson look now? I'll let your eyes do the judging. But if we're being honest here, let's just say that he's obviously caught between a good place and a bad place. At 78, Hudson looks incredibly fit and sharp. His dedication to wellness has paid off, with the actor staying active and focused on his mental and physical health. In fact, he's hardly slowed down. His secret to longevity? A lot of protein, and don't forget his favorite protein shakes. But of course, he also tries to stick to a balanced diet and even indulges in regular workouts.
What do you put in your protein shakes?
I gotta get my magic bullet. Here's some protein powder. Spoonfuls of that in there. Don't know what it is, but my son says it's good, and he's really healthy. Collagen peptides. I put that in there, and I put my nuts in there. Usually walnuts, I have some walnuts. Put it in there with my banana, mix it all up, and that's it.
But hold up for a second. You've got to be kidding, right? This 78-year-old is handling barbells and dumbbells like teensy little pencils. Absolutely. While some fans may remember him as the youthful Winston from Ghostbusters, Hudson's silver-haired transformation is nothing short of stunning. Despite his struggles, Ernie Hudson has managed to carve out a lasting legacy in Hollywood. His net worth is estimated at around $5 million, a significant improvement from those early days when he pocketed a laughable $370 from one of the most successful franchises in film history. 'Cause seriously though, do you know how many $370 you could find in $5 million? We're not just talking of hundreds, we're talking of thousands. Now, for those of you wondering if Hudson is still working, especially the ladies in the house who might have developed a crush on the actor. First off, back off. He's a devoted husband to the core. On the other hand, Ernie Hudson continues to star in various films and movies, most notably reprising his role as Winston in Ghostbusters Afterlife 2021.
And that's probably the #1 reason why. Oh, good try anyway.
In interviews, Hudson has expressed gratitude for finally receiving the recognition he long deserved. He is also set to star in upcoming projects that will showcase his versatility as an actor. It's a beautiful end to a story that almost seemed like it would never have a picture-perfect ending. Well, here's Hudson's final thoughts on the filming experience.
Big packs on your back and you're shooting ghosts. I don't know if you believe in ghosts or not. Did you say this ain't gonna do nothing, or was it one of those things like this could be a hit?
Oh man, when I got the script, because you come out, you're always looking for that thing, that one, that role. And I was a single dad. I have two sons I was raising, and you're always hoping for them. So dad's going up for this, dad's going up for that. I got this script, and I thought, man, if I get this role. I mean, it was the role came in the very beginning of the movie, and it was all the way through. It was a great role.
So it was a sequel. You knew this was going to be longevity.
I know this is going. I don't care if we just do this. If they let me do this, the world is going to be a whole different place. And I let my boys read it, and we all excited. And I knew when I went into that audition, it's one of those things where this is my moment. And I went in and killed it. This is mine. And then when it didn't happen, it was like, oh, you want me to come back again?
It was a learning experience. From being underpaid and overlooked in one of the most iconic films of all time to surviving personal hardships and nearly dying, Hudson is a man to be admired. And with his age-defying looks, it's safe to say this Hollywood veteran still has plenty left to offer.